What I do, it's a peripatetic practice. So that means that it's based on travel, moving from place to place.
चाहे कहो इसे मेरी मोहब्बत चाहे हंसी में उड़ा दो.
A lot of peripatetic artists move, but in different ways. And the way that I like to move is slowly. I like to spend as much time as I can with a place or a person. And the idea is that I carry materials. In my case, it's a roll of paper, a scroll, and I carry a set of watercolours. I work with miniature, so this makes the practice very portable. So basically everything fits into a small backpack. And when I arrive at a place, I find somewhere to stay, and I basically use my intuition and my instincts to navigate that place. These days it's very easy with GPS and all kinds of applications to help you find where you are, but I prefer the old-fashioned way, because the old-fashioned way allows you to encounter places without knowing where you are. And I think that's the logic underpinning this kind of practice, is to go with what is offered. And that's based, actually that idea is based on the premise of the travelling storyteller, which is a very ancient role that many societies have. Many societies all over the world, indigenous civilizations, but also most communities or tribes have their storytellers. My concept of the travelling storyteller, or the peripatetic artist, was grounded for me when I met an Aboriginal woman in Australia in 1998. And I'd gone to visit a national park in Australia to do some painting. In those days I was not a peripatetic artist. I had not gone to art school yet. I just painted for fun. And I found myself in this place with this Aboriginal community, talking to this artist, and I was showing her my paintings. And suddenly I found myself apologising and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I think there are things in these paintings that have come to me intuitively from being in your country, that maybe I shouldn't be painting them, because I'm not Indigenous, I don't have the permissions to work with certain materials. I know this is a big issue in Australia, to not appropriate cultural material, especially from the Indigenous people." And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, well, we don't see it quite like that, because we have always had a tradition of storytellers in our community. And the storytellers were people who felt called to go beyond the tribal borders to find out things. And sometimes they would make art about this, or in the Aboriginal culture they would make stories, sometimes objects. They would come back to the tribe, sometimes after years," she said, "with lots of stories about what was outside." And this was really important, because not everybody could travel beyond the borders. So these storytellers had a really important role in expanding the knowledge base of the tribe. So the whole idea of the peripatetic artist is partly about travelling away from your home and gathering information and stories and bringing it back to share. But it is expanded for a lot of artists, including myself, as the world becomes more bordered and harder to travel in. A peripatetic practice takes on political dimensions because you're moving often against the culture of stay where you are. You know, the scrolls are like a necklace with a lot of beads. Each bead is a story. In this case, the beads are miniature paintings and the necklace is made of paper. But that is the idea. They're archive works. They're not like singular paintings. And they're the kinds of works that I like the idea of them as being like books of a place and time. And I really hope that people want to come back to them and keep reading the book. Stories always come. Stories always come. And I've learnt to not worry, not go hunting for the story. I think that there's a purpose behind going somewhere to do a certain story. Obviously, there's a need for that, and that's really good if that's the impulse. But with me, it always happens through surrendering and allowing something to come. And my work is to place myself in the context. My work is to be out on the street or out in the field. My work is to put myself in places where I may not know the language. I may not know anything about the place. I may be absolutely terrified about what am I doing here. Some places I've gone to and I've been like, I don't belong, I don't belong, I don't belong. And then somebody has approached me and said, you know, you're the only person I can talk to here because you're a foreigner. And you won't tell my family.
चाहे कहो इसे मेरी मोहब्बत चाहे हंसी में उड़ा दो ये क्या हुआ मुझको खबर नहीं हो सके तुम ही बता दो बाहों में